Hello, YouTubers, and welcome to Level-Headed News. This is your host, Brenda. Happy Easter. Happy Easter. Easter Bunny Easter. Hope the Easter Bunny's been good to you. This will be a short episode. I've only got 6 articles in this episode for you. But hey, short and sweet. I've already given you 2 long ones, so here you go for the tail end of it here on Easter Sunday. This one's off of Liberty Headlines, and it says, NSA malware threatens Windows users around the world. The Shadow Brokers, an entity previously confirmed by The Intercept to have leaked authentic malware used by the NSA to attack computers around the world, today released another cache of what appeared to be extremely potent and previously unknown software capable of breaking into systems running Windows. The software could give nearly anyone with sufficient technical knowledge the ability to wreak havoc on millions of Microsoft users. The leak includes a litany of typically named software implants with names like Odd Job or Zippy Bear and Este Modget, capable of breaking into and, in some cases, seizing control of computers running versions of Windows operating systems earlier than the most recent Windows 10. The vulnerable Windows versions ran more than 65% of desktop computers last month, according to estimates from tracking firm Net Market Share. The crown jewel of the implant collection appears to be a program named which essentially automates the deployment of NSA malware and would allow a member of agency's tailored access operations group to more easily infect a target from their desk. According to security researcher and hacker Matthew Hickey, co-founder of Hacker House, the significance of what's now publicly available, including zero-day attacks on previously undisclosed vulnerabilities, cannot be overstated. I don't think I have ever seen so much exploits and zero-day exploits released at one time in my entire life, he told The Intercept via Twitter DM. And I have been involved in computing hacking and security for 20 years. Affected computers will remain vulnerable until Microsoft releases patches for zero-day vulnerabilities, and more critically or crucially, until their owners then apply those patches. The next article that I have is off of News, and it says Alabama Senate votes to allow churches to form police department. And this one is in little bitty print here, so let's bit so I can read it. There we go. It's out of Montgomery, Alabama. It says the Alabama Senate has voted to allow a church from its own police to form its own police force. Lawmakers on Tuesday voted 24-4 to allow Briarwood Presbyterian Church in Birmingham to establish a law enforcement department. The church says it needs its own police officers to keep its school as well as its more than 4,000 person congregation safe. The bill argued that a police department that reports to church officials could use could be used to cover up crimes. The state has given a few private universities the authority to have a police force, but never a church or a non-school entity. Police experts have said such a police department would be unprecedented in the United States. A similar bill is also scheduled to be debated in the House on Tuesday. So my question, all these articles always bring me to more questions, but my question would be, what is to stop Muslim churches from doing the same thing? Why couldn't this Presbyterian church just hire security staff? Why do they need to form a police force? I don't know. Interesting. We'll have to see what goes on with that. The next one here is off of dailymail.co.uk. Sure is running. He's trying to save his job because I'm thinking about replacing him with the Easter Bunny. Come on, hamster. There we go. Says that's quite a shot. Russian humanoid set learns how to shoot a gun with both hands. And we'll get this to scroll up a little bit. Cyber cosmonaut sent to the International Space Station. Putin wants the first landing on the moon within 15 years. Has learned a range of skills to strengthen its motor skills and algorithms. Recently demonstrated it can shoot a firearm using both of its hands. From lifting weights to driving a Jeep, Russia's humanoid has learned a range of skills for when it takes off for the mission to the moon in 2021. Cyber cosmonaut Fedor has now demonstrated a new skill that is vital in developing its fine motor skills and decision algorithms. The massive robot latest venture brought it to shooting range where it squared up in front of a target and pulled the trigger and shot its first handgun with both hands. And there is video of this if you would care to take a look at that. It says Fedor was unveiled last December and is part of Vladimir Putin's strategic plan to conquer the moon for Russia, revealed last December. This thing can work without a spacesuit, live not only in a crew vehicle, but even outside of it. Its name is Fedor. Premier Dmitry Rogozin forced debut. He claimed the war in Syria had shown Russia the importance of robots in difficult environments and promised Fedor would make its space debut in 5 years. Putin has also instructed his space chiefs to make a first landing on the moon within 15 years. Now the humanoid has demonstrated it is able to determine targets of honing in on specific points, which will come in handy when it begins building a Russian base on the moon. The robot of the Fedor platform of firing using both arms, currently the work of on fine motor skills and decision algorithms is underway, Rogozin wrote. Rogozin also explained that to shoot helps it learn how instantaneously prioritize targets and make decisions, Sputnik News reported. Some of the first images of Fedora showed the humanoid pumping iron, walking and driving a car using power tools. And then there's some more video of it. It says, and this showed off its authentic abilities while doing a few press ups. Russian experts hope it will one day be able to help build a base on the moon. The key task for Fedor will be to assist in construction and on the moon and potentially other planets, said its Russian designers, FPL. And then there's some more pictures of it. It says the robot can crawl, stand up after falling down, take and leave driver's seat in a car, use tools, and operate in a regular building. Fedor stands 6 foot tall, weighs no less than 233 pounds, depending on extra equipment, and can lift up to 44 pounds of cargo. During spacewalking missions and on other planets, astronauts will rely on robots, said Sergei Kurz, head of the project and director of National Center for Technology Development and Basic Robotics. And there's some more pictures of him. says their capabilities are equal to those of humans, and in some ways, them. Vladimir Soinchev, a Russian rocket-making corporation, Energia, said our involvement in the Fedor-based robotic project will bring us to the next level in the development of robotic technologies. And there is more video and more pictures. It says Alexander, and I don't know how in the world to pronounce that last name. Good gravy. I'm not even going to try. We'll just call him Alexander. Director of the TNS Izmash Laboratory of Space Robotics said every hour of work on spacewalks costs from $2 million to $4 million US dollars. The use of robots for routine operations in the future will also spare additional time of the crew for leisure or for the fulfillment of other important tasks. Fedor, equivalent in Russian for Theodore, although in this case it's an acronym standing for Final Experimental Demonstration Object Research. And there's more pictures. Poor little hamster can't keep up with me trying to this thing. All these pictures in it. Between the pictures and the ads. I think that's the end of it. All right. Well, the article that I have catches up. This is off of Liberty Headlines. It says Delta will offer up to $9,950 to passengers on overbooked flights. Originally came off Zero Hedge. It says in the aftermath of the United scandal, Delta Airlines will allow airline employees to offer up to $9,950 to encourage passengers to give up their seats on overbooked flights, the Associated Press reported on Friday. The change comes as rival United Airlines faces not only broad public backlash, but also a lawsuit stemming from a passenger's forced removal from a sold-out flight last week. Specifically, the AP said that it had obtained an internal Delta memo authorizing the airline's gate agent to offer as much as $2,000 in compensation for overbooked flights, previous high of $800, while Delta's supervisors can now offer up to $9,950, up from $1,350 maximum. United has faced a week of mounting outrage over its treatment of a passenger who refused to give up his seat to airline personnel last weekend. A video showing the passenger, David Dow, being forced from his seat and dragged off the plane by security officials went viral. On Thursday, claimed his client, a 69-year-old doctor, suffered a concussion, broken nose, and lost 2 teeth during the April 9th violence. Dow plans on suing United with a hearing scheduled for Monday in Illinois. United is compensating all passengers on the flight for the price of their tickets. As well they should. I'm really surprised that the passengers didn't all just get up and file off that plane. That's what they should have done. Just got up, went in, and demanded a refund. The next one we have here is off of it says MIA. What is that? Gosh, I can't even read that. Up there in the little toolbar, all tiny print. My eyes are horrible. I need to see an eye doctor. It's off of 7 News Miami. I'll know that much. Anyway, the URL is in the description of the video if you want to pull it up. It's alleged police impersonator arrested for pulling over a real cop on I-95. I'll tell you what, that's a bad day for everybody all the way around, ain't it? It says The tables turned quickly for an alleged police impersonator who attempted to pull over a Miami-Dade police officer. Let me blow this up a little bit bigger. Let the hamster get it up here for me. Come on, buddy. Lord have mercy. There he goes. He wants the Easter Bunny to replace him, doesn't he? Uh, anyway, it says Friday night, 7 news cameras captured 46-year-old Marcos Pachillo Bustamante being released from Turner Guilford Night Correctional Center hours after he had been taken into custody for allegedly impersonating a police officer. He was seen putting on his jewelry, initially staying silent. When asked to comment on his charges, he replied in Spanish, "I'm not going to say anything. Enough. Leave me alone, please." As he was released from jail Friday evening, "I didn't stop anybody. Enough." According to the arrest affidavit, MDPD officer Alton Martin was on duty wearing his full MDPD uniform as he traveled northbound on I-95 in a county-issued unmarked police vehicle. Around 7:20 a.m., Martin was suddenly startled when he noticed a green Ford Crown Victoria driven by um, changed lanes behind him and activate police sirens. One of the Miami-Dade police detectives working overnight and off-duty in full uniform, marked vehicle heading northbound on I-95 when all of a sudden a green Crown Victoria gets behind him, Pody said. This caused Officer Martin to change lanes, yet police said Bustamante persisted and continued to follow the unmarked police vehicle. Martin believed he was being stopped by a police officer, then pulled over to the shoulder of the road near Northwest 119th Street. As Officer Martin exited his vehicle, he immediately realized he was dealing with a police impersonator and called into the station. He gets out of his vehicle while he's in full uniform, Capote added. So now he approached the Crown Victoria and realizes this guy, there's something wrong. He doesn't look like a cop. So he immediately takes this gentleman into custody. Martin called for backup. Inside the fraudulent police vehicle, investigators discovered a BB gun that resembled a real gun, complete with a holster, as well as a police blue light. This gun looks very real, Capote said. I mean, clearly, it could be mistaken for a real gun. He told 7 News that the cop impersonator wasn't shy about walking around with his gun holstered. I've even seen him with a gun, he said. Bustamante, who police are calling the cop impersonator, was arrested by MDPD Robbery Bureau detectives on the scene. A Metro camera captured the alleged impersonator's Ford Crown Victoria being towed away from the express lanes. Oh my. After the arrest, Bustamante was interviewed by MDPD Robbery Bureau detectives, where he confessed to activating the sirens and pursuing Officer Martin. He also stated he had activated the sirens in the past to alert other drivers who he observed texting and or speeding. Definitely makes notification to the detectives that yes, he's done it in the past, that he doesn't like it when people are texting, that he doesn't like it when people are speeding, Capote said. But we don't know, and we don't want to know from victims, is what happens when he attempts to make a stop. Bustamante was later booked into jail. He's been charged with impersonating a police officer. MDPD detectives are seeking the assistance of the community in identifying other motorists who may have been victims of or may have witnessed these illicit traffic stops. If you have any information that can help police in their investigation, call Miami-Dade Crime Stoppers at 305-471-TIPS. Remember, you can always remain anonymous, and you may be eligible for a $1,000 reward. Oh, holy smoke! That guy's just having a bad day. Oh my! The the final one I have in this episode's off BizPack Review, and this is one to warm you the cockles of your heart. It says UPS driver turns instant hero when he spots family-filled house on fire and leaps into action. A Massachusetts UPS driver delivered heroics when he spotted a burning home on Monday. Paul Pereira was making the last delivery on his route when he noticed flames shooting off the porch of Brian and Tracy Lavender, whose children were inside with them. And there's a picture of him in front of this house with the flames shooting out the windows. It says his neighbor stood by taking video of the fire. Pierre ran from his vehicle and asked someone to get a hose for him, WCBV reported. Brian Lavender said his family smelled the smoke, but they thought it was from someone in the neighborhood barbecuing. The next thing my wife knows, there was banging and fire, 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 get out, he told WCVB. When the family emerged from their house, the hero driver brought them to safety. I didn't realize how big the flames were until I saw the video myself, Pierre said. Tracy, who hugged Pierre, was grateful for the unlikely hero. If it wasn't for him, I think the house would have been totaled, she said. Pierre knocked down the door of the home before the fire department even arrived, neighbor Peter Brown said. Had he not been there, that entire porch would have been engulfed, Brown said. For his part, Pierre was a humble hero. I don't feel like a hero. I think anybody would do it if they saw a fire, act on it, he said. Of that if you want to take a look at it. Well, apparently not just anybody would do it. If the neighbors are standing around videotaping it instead of knocking on the door and trying to get the people out, I'd have to say that not everybody would do that. Holy smoke. Okay, here's a lesson, everybody. If you see a house on fire, instead of standing there taping it, try to alert the people inside that their house is on fire. Not everything is a photo op. Get the people out of the house. Good golly. Can't make this stuff up. I'll tell you what. If you like what I'm doing here, give it a thumbs up and share it on your social media. Don't forget to subscribe. That way you might learn something. And I hope you have a wonderful Easter. We'll see you tomorrow.